Hey everybody, it's Pojo. Got some Eternal news for you today. I think I have 4 announcements, so let's get through them as fast as we can. Number 1, I am going to be streaming today on Twitch, starting from, I think, before this video comes up, so feel free to come and stop by. It's going to be a really fun time. We're going to be doing a fairly newbie-friendly stream, doing a lot of drafting, playing with pauper, or rather like fairly cheap decks, and maybe revitalizing some of the starter decks, working on basics lists. We'll also probably do a little bit of brewing late in the evening, so should be a lot of fun, and I think it's going to be a really big stream and a really fun one, so feel free to stop by. It should be great. Number 2, we are there's a starter pack out on Eternal that they have just released for about $10. So if you're a person who's just getting into Eternal, you can pick that up and it'll give you 2 decks, each of which has its own legendary and about 4 or 5 unique rares, and is a pretty good, like, sort of fun starter. It also includes 500 gems, which is enough to buy 1 draft, 10 empty throne starter packs, which is of course all of the core cards that are really good for getting started, and this empty throne card back, nice and shiny and fun right here. We're going to be playing with this one for a little bit. Should be a lark. The decks look pretty good. I've actually been looking at them, and basically there are some starter archetypes that I really recommend for people starting out in Eternal as far as budget decks go. The first 2 are Rakano Warcry, like cheap Warcry decks, and Haunting Scream, Feln Haunting Scream. Those 2 decks are both like really solid. I also recommend Skycrag aggro and occasionally some like sort of small Combre stuff, although that's a little bit harder to build without legendaries. So the 2 decks that are released with the starter pack are actually really good, because both of them are actually of the archetypes that I think do make the best starter decks. The first, Navani's Warsong, is a really fun Warcry deck that actually uses Navani Warsinger. One of my favorite legendary designs, not a super powerful one, but one that is actually really quite good and fun to play with, and yeah, like overall this deck is pretty strong. It's also got a lot of the strong Rakano rares that actually really make a big difference in the early game if you're setting up these types of decks, namely Hammer of Might, Valkyrie Enforcer, and what was the other one? There's one more in here somewhere. Obliterate. All of which are like really powerful, fairly common cards in Rakano and other colors. Like, those cards will basically be played by you for as long as you're playing Eternal. There's a lot of different ways that they will end up being useful for you. It's also got some other rares like Silverwing Commander and Steelfang Chakram that don't get used quite as much, but are nonetheless quite a bit of fun and can be pretty cool. So yeah, this looks like a really cool deck. It's pretty fun to build. We'll definitely be doing some tweaking with it and just basically like upping everything to 4 and doing some like mild tweaking to it, but we'll talk about that in a later video. The other one is the Feln deck, which is Rindra's Infiltrators. This one has a Rindra, which is just a pretty cool core Feln legendary, as well as some good cards like Impending Doom, the Nocturnal Observer. Deathstrike is, I think, not a rare, but Direwood Beastcaller is, and that one's quite strong. So, as well as Mirror's Nightshade, another really good aggro card in Feln, and a bunch of other good like Feln uncommons and commons that do a lot of work. Argenport Ringmaster is the only rare here that isn't like a tier 1 rare or in a tier 1 deck, but it is nonetheless a really fun rare that I actually really like having in a deck, so don't have any problems with that being included in a starter deck. So these both look like really well-designed starter decks. I think they actually like really hit the spot, and while we'll definitely be playing with them and tweaking them up and showing you what you can do with them, this is nonetheless like a pretty cool way to start the game, especially with the 10 extra packs and other good stuff. So yeah, might actually be worth the $10. If you're a more advanced player, probably this might not be worth the pickup, but it really depends on if you want that fancy card back, which, yeah, you know, cosmetics. I'm certainly not going to push them on anybody. Anyways, the next thing is okay, so we talked about the stream. We talked about the pack. Oh yeah, the next thing is the really exciting one. There's going to be a new streamer program that they have announced based around interactive Twitch drops. So you might already know about Waystone, which is the sort of extension that Twitch has as an overlay for Eternal. It shows you the decks that we're streaming, and it shows you other stuff like that. Waystone's now going to have a thing where it shows a little chest every now and then as you are watching streams, and you can click on that chest to gain influence, which will be some sort of new like free-to-play mechanic some sort of new free-to-play currency. You can use that to buy new packs, more totems and card backs and other cool things. I'm not really sure what all's going to be in those setups, but they also mentioned some really, really big ticket items. LSV was talking about things like potentially even like full premium versions of sets if you are like, I'm guessing I'm guessing that's going to require a lot of influence, but certainly would be pretty cool to get if you could actually get it going. So yeah, that sounds very exciting. I'm pretty excited about it. Streamers will earn influence as well based on their viewership, and since this is like a thing that really supports streamers and makes it easier for us to do our jobs and actually make money doing it, which I would like to do at some point, I think that actually seems like a really, really good thing. So I'm pretty excited about it, and I hope everybody else is as well. That'll be launching in the next couple of weeks, and it's really cool to see Direwolf supporting streamers and pushing the game out a little bit more. I think that's, like we've mentioned, that this is definitely a precursor to release, getting a lot of advertising out and getting a lot of people watching the game. So yeah, this is something that is potentially a good indicator that that's happening, and it's also just a really, really cool program. I'm very excited to see how it's executed. We will certainly reserve some judgment until we see how it is executed, but I am nonetheless pretty psyched. Finally, there is an event happening this weekend. It is called Help for Friends or something like that. Hang on a sec. Oh my goodness, I have it up here somewhere. Here to Help. I was thinking a little help from my friends, but no, it's Here to Help. And it is only 1,000 gold to enter, so super cheap event. Best of 10 wins. You play a deck with 15 power cards from every single color, and basically that's not really going to be a big deal. It just means that you can accumulate influence for the actual meat of the game, which is that at the start of every turn, you will play a unit with a cost equal to the number of the turn. So on your first turn, you get a random 1-drop. On your second turn, you get a random 2-drop, and so on and so forth up to 7. After 7, you'll get any random drop, any random unit up to 7+. So anywhere from a Rhyme-Scale Draconis to a Scion to a Scourge of Frostome to a Spirit of Resistance. It'll all potentially get played out there. These random formats can be really, really fun to play and involve a lot of tactical decision making that can be pretty delightful, and they can also be like complete just giant fantastic chaos shows, which I am definitely into as well. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. It should be pretty cheap, and the reward of course will probably be fall of Argenport packs, which tends to be a very efficient way to get packs from the new set, which is something that I always like to do. So yeah, save up a little gold for it. It's really not going to be that much, so you can probably just grind out some ranked and get yourself a ticket, and yeah, that should be a lot of fun to play. That's it for the announcements for today. Once again, I'm going to be streaming on Twitch today, so feel free to pop by, and it'll be a lot of fun, and there might be other cool things going on. I'm not 100% certain yet, but it's going to be a big one. So see you guys there, and thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys are enjoying Eternal so far, and I hope you enjoy Eternal in the future, because it looks like there's a lot of cool stuff coming up. Next time, cheers!